So, preparing for today's service, I tried to remember those things that brought me joy in my life that might be easier to talk about. And the first thing that pops into my head when I hear the word joy is a picture of my friend Nancy Alloway in maybe 1985 or 86 on Star Island. And it was a beautiful sunny day, and I took a picture of her, which I didn't even know I took, of her like this. And ever since I saw that picture, I said to myself, that's joy. And that's where I started preparing for today. The second thing that came to me was when we had a minister here named Jim Covington. And Jim used to say that there's a duality to life. There's the joy of knowing you're alive and the sadness of knowing that you're going to die. Well, the joy of knowing you're alive is universal. We're all alive. We can all feel the joy. We don't always. But before we go too much further, I just wanted to say a word about happiness. Joy itself is a pretty religious word, and there's a lot of Christian writings that talk about joy. And there's a lot of writings that talk about happiness. And there's a controversy whether you can have happiness without joy and joy without happiness. For my purposes, I'm not that smart. Joy is going to be something that's present in all of us, is not attached to time or place. Happiness is something that can be here today and gone tomorrow. It could be because of something someone gave you, or because of something someone took away. But it's very temporally located. And happiness is also tied to who you are and your level of privilege. Some people have pretty rotten lives, and happiness is something that eludes them quite a bit. It doesn't mean that joy does. Right? It does not mean that joy does. And if you're a Christian, you can have everlasting joy by accepting Christ into your life. It says it in the Bible, he who accepts me lives forever. If you believe that, if that's like who you are, could there be anything better than that? Can you possibly ever not be smiling? No matter what life has to throw at you, even if it's stinky? I don't think so. I'm not that person, personally. Unitarian Universalism makes it hard to get to that place, I think. And I think if you were to go to some Baptist churches and go to their services, I think you'd walk away feeling a whole lot better than you did before you got there. Even though you might not believe the way they believe, the spirit of what they believe is so real, so strong, so palpable, that when the minister says, I got joy in my heart today, you know what that means. I don't know that we all do all the time. And while I was doing my work for this, I listened to a lot of gospel music. I advise you all to go and check out the Mighty Clouds Joy. They're one of the great contemporary gospel groups around. They have a song called Ride the Mighty Train. When you hear that, if you don't feel like the world is great, it's not possible. It just isn't. And there's a movie, it's called Aretha, and maybe some of you have seen it, it's on Netflix. It was filmed in 1972. Aretha Franklin did this church service where she was going to come home, I guess, because she's a church woman. And this was going to be this really great show, and it got lost, and yada, yada, yada. But now you can watch it. And the thing that caught me was, anybody here know who James Cleveland is? James Cleveland leads the greatest gospel choir on the planet. And James Cleveland has got joy in his heart. And he had a choir backing up Aretha, which had to be 15 voices. And when you heard them, it was like from somewhere else. It's hard to even, and when you see them, when you see their faces, These people were not performing. They were letting what was in them come out. It's, on the one hand, you feel jealous, and on the other hand, you say, wow, is that just the best thing there is? And I think that for folks who've got that Christian peace in them, it's fabulous. Now, they're not the only ones who do that, right? If you've been in temple, if you're not a modern Orthodox, but a regular Orthodox, where there's a lot of chanting and there's no music other than the voices, they have pieces, and we have one of them. It's in our, it's not a Hebrew piece, but it's an African piece, Thulak Zeal. Chanting can get stuff that's in you out of you. And a lot of the chants in a traditional Hebrew service have all this. And I'm sure that everybody else has it too. I don't really know. Those whirling dervish guys, like they're getting what's in there out. And I think that helps you to be healthy. The joy of living can't be short-souled. Now you could say, well, if you're living in poverty and how joyful can you be? Well, I don't know the answer to that because I don't have that circumstance. But I know people who are poor. I used to work in mental health. I worked in mental health for 50 years. Mostly spent with chronic mentally ill people who are, by and large, a very sad bunch. And maybe you know folks who are like that. The folks that I dealt with were all in hospital. One of the things, I started doing this in 1979. By 1981, I realized not one single patient ever told a joke. They never laughed. Never. Because their life was nothing to laugh about. But a lot of them had joy. And they would have, the place where I mostly was, had Protestant services. And the place was packed every time. And the singing was unbelievable. And it was hard to, at the time, hard to kind of figure that out. Now I get it. And now I get it. And I think that we, I don't think we take enough time in our services to really experience joy. I think that traditionally, Unitarianism particularly has been a religion of the head. Emerson, my old buddy, who was actually kind of boring himself, felt that services were too boring and he didn't want to go. But Emerson was a big believer of spreading joy. That what you do should spread joy. That what you do should lift people up in some way or other. And my wife used to say that joy is experiencing something so powerfully wonderful that you feel your life is fulfilled right then. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but she knew. And one year, we went to this Bruce Springsteen concert. Bruce Springsteen brought us a lot of joy. And because Dave Morkel knows Brian Williams, and Brian Williams is a Bruce Springsteen fan, we got to be right downstairs next to the boss. Wow. It was too cool to believe. Really was. And my wife, this was over a year before she was diagnosed, said I could die right now. Because she felt so fulfilled. And I think that, as I go through my pages, and just as a digression, everybody knows I can get up here and do this. And I have like little scraps of paper. I've got 16 pages here. This was extremely hard. Dealing with emotion and trying to connect to people's emotion is very, very, very hard. And I think that if I didn't have ultimate respect for our ministers, I do now. I worked on this for over a month. And it's okay. Ministers sometimes have a week. And they got to come up with some idea and then come in on Sunday to a jury of their peers. Just mine. way of, so we get to my picture. I'm sorry for flipping. I'm getting, this is the last time. So, before we get to what I want to show you, this is a compilation of what a lot of people have said. And they believe that joy is a choice purposely made. That there's a difference between joy and happiness. But what that difference is difficult to definitively define. For every person who says joy is an underlying truth that good or bad circumstances can't dictate, and happiness is rooted in circumstance, there'll be others who think exactly the opposite, because that's how we are. Despite the different perspectives, the idea that holds greater sway today is that happiness depends on external factors to exist. Happiness happens, even though we may seek it, desire it, pursue it, etc. Feeling happiness is not a choice we make. Joy, on the other hand, is a choice purposely made. Joy is an attitude of the heart and spirit present inside us as an untapped reservoir of potential. It's possible to feel joy in difficult times. Joy doesn't need a smile in order to exist, although it does feel better with one. Joy can share its space with other emotions, sadness, shame, or anger. Happiness can't. Happiness is not present in darkness and difficulty. Joy never leaves us. Joy undergirds our spirits. It brings to life peace and contentment. Joy requires connection. Often the connection is with other people, but it can be with pets. It can be with creation, creativity, with almost anything. Joy is present in the moment. Happiness mostly just passes through. Now let's see some images and see if this works. Just give me 1 second and we should be good. Well, maybe. I'm going to run these pictures through twice, at least. We have plenty of time. And then we will... my joys, although I'm sure you recognized some familiar faces. I hope that kind of worked for you a little bit. And when you know, I've had the advantage advantage of being able to think about this for so long that I kind of got some of the stuff figured out in my own heart, I guess. And when I look at that picture of my daughter getting married, I see the baby. I see the 12-year-old. All the stuff of my kid, of that child, is in that picture. And that's kind of what I channel. And I don't think I'm particularly unique. I think that if we're open to it, that's how it works. You saw the picture of the church that's in there? That's not the church, that's Linda. Linda did that picture. It makes me feel so good to see that. Coming to church, just coming here, even today when I was nervous. I walked across that threshold, I felt good. I felt good to be here, I felt great to be able to see you folks. There's lots of pictures of nature in there. There's a picture of horses. I'm afraid of horses. There's some island where I was with Nanette, where they have these wild horses that kind of just run around. And although I don't really like horses, I thought that was like, that's how great is that? That there's a place where these horses can just be horses. It is truly wonderful. I also got to share that with Janet, Ingram, and my wife. So there are some pictures of fall in there. There's that picture of all those leaves. When I saw that, I couldn't believe I was seeing it. That was in the Rockefeller Preserve. Everybody should go there. Every season you should go there. It's too cold. Some of those are in the woods where I go with my dog. It was my dog. My dog has saved my life. I can't look at her and not feel such tremendous admiration and joy. And so it's all there for us. And I wanted to go, as I'm getting ready to close, because I can go on, as we all know. Let me see if there's one more that I wanted to give you. So, understanding the differences between joy and happiness. When happiness is present, it is larger than life. Nothing seems better or worthy of our attention. But happiness is also fickle. It can be present for weeks on end and gone in an instant. Joy is constant. Understanding the differences between joy and happiness offer a greater purpose than being fodder for any intellectual debate. The distinctions between joy and happiness have real-world applications, particularly for children living in poverty. Poverty is often synonymous with despair, a heavy word, but also a word with a bark worse than its bite. Despair is like happiness in that it's temporary, although it never feels that way. Despair is a product of circumstance. It can't hold a candle to joy. Joy can overcome anything and everything in this world, if it's allowed, if it's chosen. With joy, there is hope. With joy, hardship offers growth and opportunity. With joy, self-esteem and self-respect are indestructible. Amen to that. And now, I think we're going to sing.
Number 340.